The rain fell hard on Taros 4 that morning. Dr. Hana stood at the edge of the colony's protective fence and watched the dark forest beyond. She had been on this planet for 8 months now, studying the creatures that lived in the wildlands. Her job was to understand them, to learn their ways, and to help the colonists live safely beside them. The other scientists called her crazy. They said she cared too much about the animals. They said she should keep her distance and just take notes from far away. But Hana believed there was more to learn if you got closer. If you showed respect and patience, even the most dangerous creatures could teach you something beautiful. The creatures she studied most were called Velkari. They looked like a mix between a bear and a lizard, with thick scales covering their bodies and claws as long as kitchen knives. The adults grew as big as small trucks. The colonists feared them greatly. 3 settlers had died in Velkari attacks during the first year of the colony. Now everyone wanted the creatures hunted down and killed. But Hana saw something different when she watched them. She saw intelligence in their eyes. She saw mothers protecting their young. She saw complex hunting patterns that required planning and communication. These were not mindless beasts. They were thinking, feeling beings who had lived on this world long before humans arrived. That morning, Hana went beyond the fence with her equipment. She carried cameras, recording devices, and sample containers. The security office had cleared her path, but they weren't happy about it. Minho, the head of colony security, had argued with her for 20 minutes before approving her request. "One day you'll get too close," he had warned her. "One day your luck will run out." Hana had smiled at him. "I'm careful. I know what I'm doing. That's what everyone says before something goes wrong." She had left without responding. Minho worried too much. Yes, the Velkari were dangerous, but she understood their behavior patterns now. She knew how to read their body language and avoid threatening them. The forest was quiet except for the rain. Hana walked carefully, checking her tracking device. She had tagged several Velkari over the past months with non-invasive trackers that stuck to their scales. She was following the signal of a female she had named Nabi, which meant butterfly in her native Korean language. The name seemed funny for such a large predator, but Nabi moved with surprising grace. After an hour of walking, Hana heard something unusual. It was a small crying sound, high-pitched and desperate. She knew that sound. It was a Velkari cub calling for its mother. She moved toward the noise carefully. In a small clearing, she found him. The cub was tiny compared to adults, only about the size of a large dog. His scales were still soft and light-colored. Blood covered his back leg where something had bitten or clawed him badly. He lay in the mud, crying out with each breath. Hana looked around for the mother. Velkari mothers never left their cubs alone. Something was very wrong. She waited for 30 minutes, hidden in the bushes. No adult Velkari came. The cub's cries grew weaker. He was dying. Hana made a decision that would change everything. She stepped into the clearing. The cub saw her and tried to crawl away, but his injured leg wouldn't work. He made a small threatening sound, trying to be brave. Hana knelt down slowly, speaking in a soft voice. "It's okay, little one. I'm not going to hurt you. Let me help you." She knew the cub couldn't understand her words, but tone mattered with animals. She kept her voice calm and gentle. Slowly, she reached into her medical kit. She had supplies for treating human injuries, but they would work for the cub too. The young Velkari watched her with wide eyes. He was too weak to run or fight. When Hana touched his injured leg, he flinched but didn't attack. She worked carefully, cleaning the wound and applying antibacterial gel. The injury was deep, probably from an adult male Velkari. Males sometimes killed cubs that weren't their own. "Your mother must have tried to protect you," Hana whispered. "She probably died fighting." The cub's eyes began to close. Shock and blood loss were taking him. Hana made another decision. She couldn't leave him here to die. She wrapped him in her emergency blanket and lifted him. He was heavy but manageable. She began the long walk back to the colony. When she reached the fence, the guard stared at her in shock. "Dr. Hana, what are you doing?" one shouted. "That's a Velkari. He's a baby and he's hurt."
"Open the gate, and we can't let that thing inside."
"Open the gate or I'll report you for refusing to assist a research mission." They opened the gate. Getting the cub to her lab was another battle. People ran away screaming. One woman tried to shoot the cub with a rifle, but Hana blocked her path. Finally, she made it to the xenobiology research building. Her small private lab had an empty containment area with a soft floor. She put the cub down carefully. For the next 3 hours, she worked on saving his life. She gave him fluids through an IV line. She stitched the deep wounds with careful precision. She monitored his breathing and heart rate. Slowly, the cub stabilized. When he finally opened his eyes again, he looked at her with something new. Not fear, not aggression, something else. Recognition, maybe, or the beginning of trust. "I'm going to call you Beta," she said softly. "It means ocean, because your eyes are as blue as water." Beta made a small sound, almost like a purr. The colony administrator came to her lab that evening. He was a tall man named Director Kim who cared more about rules than reason. "Dr. Hana, you violated at least 7 colony regulations. That creature must be removed immediately. He'll die if I put him back in the wild now. Give me 2 weeks to get him healthy. 2 weeks for him to grow bigger and more dangerous. 2 weeks to save a life and continue my research. My work here is important. You said so yourself when you hired me." Director Kim looked at the sleeping cub. 2 weeks. Then he goes back outside the fence. That's final. After he left, Hana looked at Bada. The cub slept peacefully, his chest rising and falling with steady breaths. She had saved him, but she had also created a problem. What would happen when he grew bigger? Would he remember her kindness, or would his predator instincts take over? She didn't know the answer. But as she watched him sleep, she felt certain she had made the right choice. Life was precious, whether human or alien, and sometimes taking a risk was worth it. Outside, the rain continued to fall. Inside the lab, a bond was beginning to form, a bond that would soon be tested in ways Hana could never imagine. 6 months had passed since Hana brought Bada to the colony. The small cub who had fit in her arms was now massive. He stood as tall as her chest when on all 4 legs, and his weight had grown to match a full-grown bear. His scales had hardened and darkened to a deep blue-gray color. His claws could tear through metal doors if he wanted to. He was becoming what nature designed him to be, a perfect predator. But something unexpected had happened during those 6 months. Bada had never left Hana's side. He followed her everywhere like a devoted dog. He slept outside her quarters each night, curled against the door. When she worked in her lab, he watched her with calm, intelligent eyes. When she ate, he sat beside her table and waited patiently for her to share bits of her food. The other colonists remained terrified of him. They crossed to the other side of the walkway when they saw him coming. Children were kept indoors when Bada was nearby. Security Officer Minho had tried 7 times to convince Director Kim to remove the Velkari from the colony. Each time, Hana's research results saved Bada. Her work was too valuable. She had discovered that Velkari communicated using sounds too low for human ears to hear naturally. With special equipment, she could detect their subsonic pulses traveling through the ground and air. These weren't simple animal calls. They were complex patterns that carried detailed information. Velkari could tell each other about food locations, danger warnings, and even emotional states through these pulses. More importantly, Hana had proven that Velkari possessed intelligence comparable to Earth's smartest animals. They used tools sometimes. They remembered faces and events for years. They formed deep social bonds with their family groups. They even seemed to mourn their dead. The scientific community across human space was fascinated by her findings. Articles about her work appeared in major research journals. Universities wanted her to speak at conferences, but Hana stayed on Tarosufor, continuing her studies with Bada as her primary subject. "He trusts me completely," she explained to Minho one afternoon. They stood in the compound yard watching Bada play with a large ball she had given him. The massive creature batted it around like a kitten with a toy. See how gentle he can be? He knows exactly how much force to use. Minho watched with skeptical eyes. He's gentle now because he's well-fed and comfortable. What happens when his instincts kick in? What happens when he sees someone running and his predator brain tells him to chase? That won't happen. He's been socialized. He understands we're not prey. Dr. Hana, with respect, you're gambling with people's lives, mine included. I'm not gambling. I'm proving that coexistence is possible. Isn't that why we're out here in space? To find ways to live alongside other species? Minho had no answer for that. He walked away, shaking his head. That same week, intelligence reports reached the colony. The Krylax were raiding human settlements. These insect-like aliens had been enemies of humanity for 3 years now. Ever since humans had settled planets in space, the Krylax claimed as their territory. The war was mostly cold, with occasional hot conflicts. Raiding parties would strike at frontier colonies, testing defenses and gathering intelligence. But Taros 4 was considered safe. It was too far from Krylax space, too remote to be worth the effort. The colony had minimal military presence because of this assumption. A few security officers with basic weapons, some automated defense systems. Nothing serious. Director Kim sent out a general warning anyway. Everyone should stay alert. Reduce non-essential travel outside the colony fence. Report anything unusual immediately. Hana read the warning on her datapad and dismissed it. She had work to do. She needed to catalog a specific type of plant that grew in the forest canyon, 3 kilometers from the colony. The plant produced a chemical compound that Velkari ate when injured. Understanding this could help develop better medical treatments. She filed a travel permit and packed her equipment. Her assistant, a young researcher named Dami, was supposed to join her, but Dami had caught a fever and was sick in bed. Hana decided to go anyway. Security assigned 2 officers to escort her, Junho and Yuna. Junho was a relaxed man in his 30s who treated the job like a boring routine. He spent most of his time checking his messages and complaining about the food in the colony cafeteria. Yuna was younger and more serious, fresh from military training. She carried her rifle like it was part of her body and scanned the forest constantly for threats. "Do we really need to bring that thing?" Junho asked, pointing at Bada. "He goes where I go," Hana replied firmly. "Besides, he's the best security we could have. Nothing in this forest will attack us with him nearby. What if he's the one who attacks us?" "He won't." They set out early in the morning. The forest was beautiful in the daylight, with strange alien trees that had purple leaves and silver bark. Small flying creatures that looked like cross between birds and butterflies floated through the air. Strange flowers grew in the shadows, glowing softly with bioluminescence even during the day. Hana loved these trips into the wilderness. The colony felt like a cage sometimes, with its metal walls and artificial lights. Out here she could breathe. Out here she could remember why she had chosen xenobiology as her career. The universe was full of life, strange and wonderful, waiting to be understood. Bada walked ahead of the group, his head swinging left and right as he explored scents and sounds. His subsonic pulses hummed through Hana's detection equipment, showing his contentment. He was happy out here too, in the wild lands where his species belonged. They reached the canyon around midday. It was a beautiful place with steep rock walls covered in the glowing plants Hana needed to study. A small stream ran through the bottom, crystal clear and cold. Yunyo immediately sat down on a rock and pulled out his lunch. Yuna took position on a high spot with good visibility, her rifle across her lap. Hana got to work. She carefully collected plant samples, photographed them from multiple angles, and recorded notes into her voice recorder. Bada wandered around the canyon floor, investigating interesting smells and occasionally looking back to check on Hana's location. Everything was peaceful. Everything felt safe. That was when the dart hit her. She felt a sharp sting in her chest right above her heart. She looked down and saw a small metal dart sticking out of her shirt. It had a red feathered end like an arrow from ancient Earth. "What?" she started to say. Then the poison hit her system. The world spun. Her legs stopped working. She fell forward onto the rocky ground, unable to move, unable to speak. Her body refused to obey her commands. Only her eyes still worked, staring at the rocks beneath her face. She heard Junho shout something. Then she heard a wet choking sound and a body hitting the ground near her. Junho's rifle clattered on rocks. Yuna's voice screamed into a communicator. "We're under attack. Canyon 7. We need immediate." Another choking sound. Another body falling. Silence. Hana's mind screamed even though her mouth couldn't. She was paralyzed but not unconscious. She could feel everything. She could hear everything, and what she heard terrified her. Clicking sounds, multiple creatures moving across rock, not human footsteps. Something else. Something alien. Dark shapes entered her limited field of vision. They stood on 2 legs but weren't human. Their bodies were covered in a hard shell like insects, colored in browns and dark greens. They had 4 arms each, and their heads were triangular with multiple eyes. Krylax warriors. She had seen pictures of them in intelligence briefings, but never in person. One of the creatures bent down near her face. It made clicking sounds at the others. She couldn't understand the language, but the meaning felt clear. They were discussing what to do with her. A tall one, wearing more equipment than the others, pointed at her and made sharp clicking commands. The others responded with gestures of agreement. They were going to take her. She was valuable to them as a researcher, as someone who knew about the colony. Fear flooded through Hana's paralyzed body. But mixed with the fear was another thought. Where was Bada? The Krylax clearly hadn't seen him yet. He must have been far up the canyon when they attacked. Did he hear the commotion? Would he come back? Or would he sense danger and flee, following his survival instincts? The leader Krylax reached down to grab her shoulder. Its clawed hand touched her shirt. Then from somewhere in the canyon she heard a sound she'd never heard Bada make before. It was low and dangerous. A subsonic pulse so powerful it made her bones vibrate even through the paralysis. It wasn't a sound of fear or contentment. It was a sound of pure rage. The Krylax leader's hand froze on Hana's shoulder. All the alien warriors stopped moving, their heads turned toward the source of that terrible sound. Even through her paralysis, Hana could sense their confusion. They didn't know what had made that noise. They were about to find out. Bada came from above. The Velkari had climbed the canyon wall somehow, using his powerful claws to grip the rock face. Now he launched himself from a height of 15 meters, a mass of muscle and rage falling like a blue-gray meteor. He made no roar, no warning cry. Velkari didn't announce their attacks. They simply struck. He hit the nearest Krylax warrior with the force of a car crash. The alien's shell cracked under the impact. Beta's jaws closed around its neck section before it could even raise a weapon. There was a crunching sound, and the warrior went still, dead in seconds. The other Krylax reacted with trained military precision. They scattered, raising weapons that looked like rifles, but with organic curved designs. The leader barked clicking commands. 3 warriors aimed at Bada from different angles. The first dart hit Bada in his left shoulder. He didn't even flinch. His attention fixed on the warrior who had touched Hana. He charged forward, faster than something his size should be able to move. The Krylax leader tried to dodge, but Bada was already too close. His claws raked across the alien's torso, tearing through armor and shell like paper. 2 more Krylax fired at once. A dart struck Beta's flank, burying deep between his scales. Another dart hit his back leg. The poison they contained was designed to drop a human in seconds. It would take more to stop a Velkari, but it would still work eventually. Bada's body would slow down. His muscles would stop responding. Then they could kill him easily, but that would take time, and Bada wasn't going to give them time. From her position on the ground, Hana could only see portions of the battle. She saw Bada's legs flash past as he moved. She saw Krylax bodies falling. She heard the sounds of shells cracking, weapons firing, and that terrible subsonic pulse that Bada kept releasing. It was so loud now that it hurt her chest even through the paralysis. A Krylax warrior ran past her, fleeing. Beta caught it within 3 strides. His jaws grabbed its leg and pulled it down. The alien tried to shoot him at point-blank range. The dart hit Bada's neck, the 3rd poison dart now embedded in his body. He didn't let go. His claws finished what his jaws started. The Krylax leader, badly wounded but still alive, shouted something to the remaining warriors. They began retreating up the canyon walls using climbing equipment. They had come prepared for many situations, but not for this. Not for a creature that could take multiple paralytic darts and keep fighting with pure fury. One warrior stayed behind on a high ledge, rifle aimed. It was a sniper position, carefully chosen. This warrior must have been the one who shot Hana in the first place. The one whose dart had struck her chest. The one who started all of this. Bada saw it too. Even with poison burning through his system, even with his legs starting to tremble, he understood. That one up there had hurt Hana. That one needed to die. The Krylax sniper fired again. The 4th dart hit Bada square in his chest. Enough poison to kill 3 humans flooded into his bloodstream. His front legs buckled. He went down on his knees. Hana's eyes filled with tears she couldn't shed. She wanted to scream at him to stop, to hide, to save himself. But her voice was gone. She could only watch as Bada struggled to stand. The sniper clicked something that might have been laughter. It began to reload its weapon, taking its time now. The beast was finished. One more dart would do it. But the sniper had made a mistake. It had assumed Bada was like other animals, controlled by pain and fear. It didn't understand what Hana had learned over 6 months. Velkari bonded for life. They protected their family without question. and Hana was Bada's family now. Bada stood up. His legs shook badly. Blood dripped from his wounds where the darts had penetrated. His breathing came in harsh gasps, but his eyes stayed focused on that sniper with absolute clarity. He took one step forward, then another. Each movement was slower than before, the poison winning its battle against his nervous system. The sniper raised its weapon again, aimed carefully. It would make this shot count. Bada didn't give it the chance. He pushed off with his remaining strength and leaped up the canyon wall. His claws found holds in the rock. He climbed like he had climbed before, but this time fighting against muscles that were shutting down. The sniper fired once more in panic. The dart went wide, missing completely. Beta reached the ledge. The Krylax warrior backed up, clicking in fear now. It dropped its weapon and tried to run. Too late. Beta's jaws closed around its throat section. He didn't bite cleanly this time. His strength was fading. Instead, he tore, shaking his head like a dog with a toy. The sniper's throat came apart in pieces. Its body fell from the ledge, tumbling down to land in the stream below. Bada stood on the ledge for a moment, swaying. Then his legs finally gave out. He collapsed hard, his body sliding down the rocks. He landed on the canyon floor with a heavy thud, not far from where Hana lay paralyzed. The remaining Krylax warriors had fled. The canyon was quiet except for the sound of the stream and Bada's labored breathing. Hana could see him now, could see his chest moving up and down in irregular patterns. 4 darts stuck out of his body like flags. His eyes were half closed. He was dying. But even dying, he moved. He dragged himself across the ground toward her, claws scraping on rock. It took him minutes to cover just a few meters. When he finally reached her, he positioned his body over hers, shielding her from above, protecting her even now. His head came to rest near her face. His eye looked into hers. She saw pain there, and exhaustion, but also something else, satisfaction maybe. He had done what he needed to do. He had protected his human. A subsonic pulse came from him, different from the rage sounds before. This one was soft, almost gentle. Hana's equipment translated it as something between a question and a goodbye. "Are you okay?" I did my best. She wanted to answer him so badly. She wanted to tell him yes, she was okay. He had saved her. She wanted to thank him and tell him to hold on, that help was coming, but her mouth wouldn't work. Her vocal cords were frozen. All she could do was look at him with tears building in her eyes. Time passed in strange ways. The paralysis wouldn't let her feel much, but she felt the weight of Bada's head near hers. She felt his breath on her face, getting weaker with each passing minute. The poison was winning. His incredible will and strength had carried him through the fight, but biology couldn't be denied forever. From somewhere far away, Hana heard engines, aircraft approaching. Yuna must have gotten her distress call out before she died. Help was coming. But would it be fast enough? Bada's eye closed. His breathing became more shallow. The subsonic pulses from his body faded to almost nothing. Then Hana heard boots on rocks, people shouting. Minho's voice, loud and commanding, giving orders. She heard someone say, "Oh my God," when they saw the dead Krylax scattered around the canyon. She heard someone else say, "The Velkari is down." Hands touched her carefully, checking her vital signs. A medic's voice spoke near her ear. "Dr. Hana, can you hear me? You've been hit with a paralytic. We're going to get you out of here." She tried to move her eyes toward Bada, tried to make them understand he needed help too. But she couldn't control even that small movement. "Get her on the stretcher," the medic ordered. "What about the Velkari?" Another voice asked. "Leave it, it's dying anyway, we need to focus on survivors." "No. No, no, no," Hana screamed inside her frozen body. "Don't leave him, please don't leave him. He saved me. He's dying because he saved me." "Wait," Minho's voice cut through. "Load the Velkari too. Get it in the cargo net." "Sir, it's a lost cause. Those darts." I said load it. Dr. Hana would want us to try. And after what I'm seeing here. Minho's voice paused. That creature fought off 7 Krylax warriors alone while full of poison. The least we can do is try to save its life. Hana felt herself being lifted onto a stretcher, She heard the sounds of nets and equipment as they prepared to move Bada's massive body. She couldn't see what was happening anymore. The sky above, the canyon was all she could see, blue and clear and peaceful, so different from the battle that had just happened. As the aircraft lifted off, carrying her and Bada back to the colony, Hana's mind held onto one thought. Please live. Please live. You saved me. Now let me save you. Hana woke up in stages. First came awareness of light behind her eyelids, then sound, beeping machines and distant voices. Then sensation, the feeling of sheets against her skin and an IV line in her arm. Finally, she managed to open her eyes. White ceiling. Medical bay. She was in the colony's hospital. She tried to move and found she could, though her muscles felt weak and strange, like they belonged to someone else. The paralytic had worn off, but it left effects behind. Easy, Doctor. Hana. A nurse appeared beside her bed, a kind-faced woman named Hyejin. You've been out for 3 days. Your body needs time to recover from the toxin. 3 days. The memory came rushing back. The canyon, the attack, Junho and Yuna dying, Bada fighting, the darts, so many darts. Bada, Hana croaked. Her voice sounded terrible, rough and broken. Where is he? Hyejin's expression changed, became more guarded. You should rest. The doctor will... Where is Bada? Hana tried to sit up. Her arms shook with effort, but she managed it. Is he alive? Dr. Hana, please, tell me. Hyejin sighed. He's alive. But you need to understand, it's complicated. You should really talk to Director Kim and Officer Minho before... Hana was already pulling the IV from her arm. Hyejin tried to stop her, but Hana pushed her hands away with surprising strength for someone who had been unconscious for 3 days. She stood up, legs wobbling, and grabbed a medical robe to wrap around her hospital gown. Where is he? She demanded. Xenobiology bay, but Dr. Hana, you can't... Hana was already walking toward the door. Her legs didn't want to cooperate properly, but she forced them to move. She had to see him. She had to know if he was okay. The walk from the medical bay to the xenobiology building felt like kilometers. People stared at her as she passed. Some looked relieved to see her awake. Others looked at her with something else in their eyes. Fear, anger. She couldn't tell and didn't care. Minho intercepted her halfway there. He stepped into her path, hands raised in a calming gesture. Dr. Hana, I'm glad you're awake. We need to talk. Not now. I need to see Bada. That's what we need to talk about. There's been a situation. What situation? Minho looked uncomfortable. The Velkari is alive. He's recovering. But Director Kim and some of the colonists are demanding that he be removed from the colony. Or put down. There's been a meeting of the Colony Council. They're voting today on what to do with him. Hana felt cold fury rush through her. Put down? They want to kill him after he saved my life? They're scared, Dr. Hana. 7 Krylax warriors dead. The footage from Officer Yuna's tactical camera showed everything. People saw what the Velkari is capable of when he fights. They're afraid he'll turn that violence on us someday. That's insane. He was protecting me. He was protecting us all. The Krylax came to attack the colony. Beta stopped them. I know that. I've been arguing your side in the meetings. But public fear is a powerful thing. Half the colony wants him gone. Then the other half wants him to stay. Where's the vote? In 2 hours, main assembly hall. But you should rest first. You're barely recovered. I'll rest when I see Bada. Get out of my way, Minho. He looked at her for a long moment, then stepped aside. He's in the reinforced containment area. We had to move him there for safety reasons. And Dr. Hana? He's been difficult. Difficult how? He won't let anyone near him except the medical team. And even then, he watches them like he expects an attack. He's been making those sounds constantly. The subsonic ones. It's been affecting people, giving them headaches. Some people say they feel afraid even being in the same building. Hana started walking again. He's afraid. He woke up in a strange place without me. Of course he's defensive. The xenobiology bay was quiet when she entered. Most of the staff had left, scared off by Bada's presence. Only one person remained. Yunbi, the colony's xenovet specialist. She was a small woman with gray hair and steady hands, one of the few people who shared Hana's passion for alien creatures. Dr. Hana, Yunbi greeted her with relief. Thank goodness he's been asking for you. Asking? The subsonic pulses. I've been studying them with your equipment. He's been repeating the same pattern over and over. According to your translation notes, it roughly means, where is she? Or find her. He's been looking for you. Hana's eyes burned with tears. Take me to him. They walked to the reinforced containment area, a large room with clear walls made of bulletproof material. Inside, Bada lay on a padded floor. Medical equipment monitored his vital signs. 3 darts still lay on a tray nearby, removed from his body. Bandages covered his wounds. He looked terrible. His scales, usually shiny and healthy, seemed dull. His body looked thinner, like he hadn't been eating. But he was alive. His chest rose and fell with steady breathing. His eyes were closed. As soon as Hana approached the clear wall, Bada's eyes snapped open. His head lifted. The subsonic pulse that came from him was so powerful that Hana felt it in her bones. It wasn't aggressive or afraid. It was relief. Pure relief. I need to go in there, Hana said. Yunbi hesitated. Dr. Hana, he's been unpredictable. Even sedated, he nearly hurt 2 technicians who got too close. Director Kim specifically ordered that no one enters the containment without full safety protocols. I don't care what Director Kim ordered. Open the door. It's not safe. Yunbi, please. He saved my life. He took 4 poison darts for me and still fought to protect me. The least I can do is be with him now. Yunbi looked at Bada, then back at Hana. Finally, she nodded. If he hurts you, I'm losing my job and probably going to prison for allowing this. He won't hurt me. The door unsealed with a hiss. Hana stepped inside. Immediately, Bada tried to stand. His legs shook badly, still weak from the poison and the days of recovery. He managed to get to his feet but swayed, about to fall. Hana rushed forward without thinking and wrapped her arms around his neck, supporting him. His scales felt warm under her hands. His subsonic pulse thrummed through her body, and this time it carried a clear message. Safe home, Pac. I'm here, she whispered. I'm okay. You saved me, Beta. You saved me. He made a sound that was almost like a whimper. Slowly, carefully, he lowered his massive head and rested it against her shoulder. The weight of it nearly knocked her over, but she braced herself and held on. They stayed like that for long minutes, human and Velkari, reunited after trauma. Finally, Bada's legs gave out and he had to lie down again. But this time, he did it calmly, settling onto the padded floor with a sigh. Hana sat beside him, one hand resting on his neck. His eyes closed again, but his breathing was more relaxed now. At peace. He wouldn't eat, Yunbi said quietly from outside the containment. We tried everything. But I bet he'll eat now that you're here. She was right. When they brought food, Bada ate for the first time in days. He was slow and careful, still recovering, but he ate. And between bites, he kept checking to make sure Hana was still there, still safe. 2 hours later, Hana stood in the colony assembly hall. She hadn't changed from her medical robe. She hadn't combed her hair. She didn't care. The hall was packed with colonists, all talking at once. The noise was overwhelming. Director Kim banged a gavel on his podium. Order! We will have order. The crowd slowly quieted. Director Kim looked tired, like he hadn't slept in days. We're here to vote on the matter of the Velkari creature currently housed in xenobiology. Dr. Hana has requested to speak before the vote. Dr. Hana? Hana stepped to the front of the room. Every eye turned to her. She saw fear in many faces, anger in others, but also hope in some. She took a breath and began to speak. 6 months ago, I saved a dying cub. Many of you told me I was making a mistake. You said he would be dangerous. You said I couldn't trust a predator. You were wrong. She paused, looking at the crowd. 3 days ago, the Krylax attacked. They killed Junho and Yuna. They paralyzed me and would have taken me prisoner. 7 trained alien warriors with advanced weapons. Our security couldn't stop them in time, but Bada did. She pulled up the footage on the main screen. Yuna's tactical camera had captured everything. The crowd watched in silence as Bada fought. They saw him take the first dart and keep fighting. The second, the third, the fourth. They saw him climb the canyon wall while dying. They saw him kill the sniper who shot Hana. He took 4 poison darts, Hana continued, enough to kill a dozen humans, and he still fought. Not because he's a mindless beast, but because he was protecting his family. Protecting me. Protecting all of us. That's exactly what scares us. Someone shouted from the crowd. If he can kill 7 Krylax, what's to stop him from killing us? The same thing that stopped him from killing me when I found him dying as a cub, Hana replied. The same thing that stopped him every single day for 6 months. Love, loyalty, choice. Bada chose to protect instead of attack. He chose compassion over violence. Until we were threatened. Until I was threatened. She looked around the room. Every creature in the universe has the capacity for violence, humans included. We don't kill each other because we choose not to. Because we care about each other. Bada is the same. He's proven it. And now you want to kill him for saving my life? Silence filled the hall. People looked at each other uncertain. Director Kim cleared his throat. Dr. Hana has made her position clear. Does anyone else wish to speak before we vote? Minho stood up. I do. I was one of Bada's biggest critics. I thought Dr. Hana was reckless and foolish. But I was at that canyon. I saw what happened. 7 Krylax dead. Dr. H.R. recovery took weeks, for both of them. Hana's body slowly cleared the last effects of the paralytic toxin. Her muscles regained their strength. The nightmares came every night at first. Dreams of being frozen and helpless while danger approached. But they faded with time, especially when she woke up and found Bada sleeping outside her quarters like always, his steady breathing a reminder that they were both alive. Bada's recovery was harder. The poison had damaged his nervous system. For days his legs wouldn't work properly. He stumbled and fell like a newborn learning to walk. It hurt Hana to watch, but she stayed with him every day, encouraging him, helping him practice. Umbi created a treatment plan using both earth veterinary medicine and chemicals, derived from the healing plants Velkari ate naturally. Slowly, Bada got better. First he could walk without falling. Then he could run, though not as fast as before. His strength returned gradually. The scars from the darts remained, 4 marks in his scales that would never fully heal. But he was alive. That was what mattered. The colony changed in those weeks. At first, people were still afraid. They gave Bada wide space when he walked past. Parents still kept children away. But something shifted when a video started circulating. Someone had edited together footage from Yuna's camera and from colony security cameras. It showed Bada playing gently with the ball, sleeping peacefully, following Hana like a devoted pet. Then it showed the attack in the canyon, the brutal efficiency of his protection, the loyalty that drove him to fight while dying. The video spread beyond Taros 4, jumping to other colonies, then to the inner worlds of human space. People across the galaxy watched it. They saw what Hana had always known. Velkari weren't mindless beasts. They were intelligent, emotional, capable of bonds that transcended species. And humans could be part of those bonds. The media called it the Canyon Guardian. News programs interviewed xenobiology experts. Military analysts studied Bada's fighting tactics. Children drew pictures of him. He became famous without knowing or caring about fame. He only cared about staying near Hana. 2 months after the attack, a woman named Dr. Somin arrived at Taros 4. She represented the Frontier Xenobiology Institute, one of the most prestigious research organizations in human space. She met with Hana in the colony's main conference room. Your work has changed everything we thought we knew about human-alien bonds, Dr. Somin said. She was an older woman with sharp eyes and a warm smile. We'd like to offer you a position at the Institute. Full research funding. Your own team. Access to the best facilities in known space. Hana considered it. What about Beta? He would come with you, of course. We have proper containment facilities, large outdoor areas, everything he would need. Containment? Dr. Soman paused. Well, yes. For safety, he would have a comfortable habitat, but no, Hana said simply. Bada isn't a prisoner. He's not a specimen. He's my partner. If I can't work with him freely, I'm not interested. Dr. Hana, be reasonable. He's a dangerous predator. What happened in that canyon proves he can be trusted. He had every opportunity to attack humans over the past months. He never did. He only fought when we were attacked by enemies. That's not a dangerous predator. That's a protector. Dr. Soman left disappointed, but others came with better offers. Universities, private research companies. Even the military wanted to study the possibility of bonding soldiers with Velkari partners. Hana turned them all down. She had no interest in turning Bada into a weapon or a curiosity. Instead, she published her research herself. Papers detailing Velkari intelligence, communication, social behavior, and bonding capability. Other researchers on Terracer 4 and beyond began studying different alien species with new eyes. What other creatures could humans befriend? What other partnerships were possible? A movement started, small at first but growing. Xenobiology bonding programs appeared on other frontier colonies. Scientists approached local predators not with weapons but with patience and respect. Most attempts failed. Some succeeded. Each success made the idea more real. Humans didn't have to conquer the galaxy alone. They could make friends along the way. 6 months after the attack, something unexpected happened. Wild Velkari appeared near the colony fence. Hana was working in her lab when the alarm sounded. She rushed outside with Bada following close behind. At the eastern fence line, 3 adult Velkari stood watching the colony. They were massive, each one larger than Beta by half. Their scales bore scars from long lives in the wild. They looked dangerous and powerful. Minho and his security team had weapons raised but hadn't fired. What do we do? He asked Hana. Are they attacking? Hana checked her subsonic sensors. The Velkari were sending pulses. She listened carefully, comparing the patterns to her research data. No, they're not aggressive. They're calling, looking for something. Bada suddenly pushed past the security team and approached the fence. The wild Velkari focused on him immediately. Their pulses intensified. Bada responded with his own subsonic calls. What are they saying? Minho asked nervously. Hana listened, her equipment translating roughly. They're asking who he is, where his pack is, if he's healthy. She paused, listening more. I think they're his mother's pack. They've been looking for him. The largest Velkari, a scarred female, stepped closer to the fence. She sent a pulse directly at Beta. He responded eagerly. The female tilted her head, studying him. Then she made a sound that was almost like a purr. She recognizes him, Hana whispered. That's his family. Will they want him back? Minho asked. Will they take him? It was a fair question. Bada had been separated from wild Velkari for nearly a year. Would his instincts pull him back to his original pack? Would he choose them over Hana? Bada turned and looked at Hana. His eyes held intelligence and understanding. He walked back to her side, pressing his shoulder against her leg. Then he looked at the wild Velkari and sent a pulse that even Hana could understand without equipment. This is my pack now. This is my home. The scarred female watched for a long moment. Then she made a sound that might have been acceptance or approval. The 3 wild Velkari turned and disappeared into the forest, leaving as quietly as they had come. What just happened? Minho asked. He chose us, Hana said softly, her hand resting on Bada's head. He chose humanity. News of the encounter spread like the earlier video had. More evidence that Velkari understood family bonds in complex ways. More proof that cross-species relationships could work. A year after Hana first found Bada dying in the mud, she stood in the same canyon where everything had changed. A memorial stood there now, 2 simple stone markers for Junho and Yuna. Fresh flowers decorated both stones, brought by colonists who visited regularly. Bada stood beside her, now fully grown at nearly 7 feet tall at the shoulder. His scales gleamed healthy and strong. The scars from the darts remained visible, badges of what he had endured. He looked magnificent and terrifying, exactly what nature had designed him to be. But when Hana reached up to touch his neck, he leaned into her hand like a kitten seeking affection. Sometimes I wonder what you think about, Hana said quietly. If you remember that day, if you understood you were dying but fought anyway, Beta made a soft subsonic pulse. Hana's equipment, always with her now, translated it loosely as pack protects pack. Yes, she agreed. Pack protects pack. They stayed at the memorial for an hour, paying respects. Then they walked back toward the colony. As they approached the fence, Hana saw that it looked different. The guards no longer watched Bada with fear. Children waved at him from safe distances. Some of the braver kids even called his name. Inside the colony, Hana had become something of a legend. The woman who befriended a monster. The researcher who proved that bridges could be built between species. She had offers for speaking engagements across human space. Publishers wanted her to write books. Universities wanted to name scholarships after her. She ignored most of it. Her work was here, on Taros 4, studying Velkari and teaching others how to understand them. 3 other researchers had successfully bonded with young Velkari now, following her methods. The colony that once wanted all Velkari killed now had 4 of them living peacefully inside its walls. That evening, Hana sat in her quarters writing her daily research notes. Bada lay on the floor beside her desk, sleeping peacefully. She paused in her writing to watch him breathe, still amazed sometimes that he was alive, that they were both alive. Her data pad chimed with a message. It was from Fleet Command, the military organization that protected human space. The message was formal and official. Dr. Hana, we are pleased to inform you that the Interstellar Senate has recognized your contributions to xenobiology and cross-species diplomacy. Your work has fundamentally changed how humanity approaches alien life. In recognition of your achievements, we would like to offer you the position of Chief Xenobiology Advisor for all frontier colonies. This position would require relocation to a core world and frequent travel. Hana read it twice, then deleted it without responding. She had no interest in titles or positions. Her place was here with Beta doing the work she loved. Another message appeared, this one from the Krylax government. It surprised her enough that she actually opened it. To Dr. Hana, Re.